All right, we have some big news coming in with the CBI seeking permission from the court to conduct a polygraph test of the accused Sanjay Roy. After a psychological test, now CBI wanting to conduct a polygraph test of Sanjay Roy. Of course, the polygraph test is done only with the consent of court and the accused. Polygraph test is also called a lie detector test, where he'll be plugged to a machine, and a polygraph test will mean questions being asked under medical supervision. So a lie detector test, more or less, that the CBI has sought permission for from the court. They've already carried out a psychological test. They want now to carry out a polygraph test as well. Big update in the investigation, considering there's a lot of talk around more people being involved in the crime. CBI, as it investigates the case here, so far they've managed to find only one, Sanjay Roy. And Sanjay Roy has admitted before the police investigative authorities that he has carried out the crime. He raped and murdered the young Kolkata doctor, though the family members believe there's a lot more that meets the eye, that this arrest of one man could just be a bid to mislead the investigation. CBI now seeking permission to also carry out a polygraph test apart from the psychological test that's been conducted. Shreya joining us for more on that. Shreya, CBI seeking and another layer of test. This time a polygraph test is what they seek.
Well, yes, absolutely, Nabila. After the psychoanalysis test, now the CBI is all set to conduct a polygraph test, provided the court grants permission. Remember, in this particular case, even the accused has a right to say no in the court proceeding if he does not want to undergo a polygraph test. So clearly, when Sanjay Roy, when this court hearing will happen, whether or not for the polygraph test to go ahead with, these procedures will be followed. So if the permission is finally granted, we will see polygraph tests or lie detector tests being done on Sanjay Roy. Clearly, what the CBI is aiming to do through this is iron out all possible theories that have actually cropped up in this particular investigation, whether at all there are possible links of other people, a botch-up. All these things could probably be easily cleared through a polygraph test is what the CBI team feels like, and that's the reason we see them now move to court to seek permission on the same.
All right. So Shreya, do we know a little more about how the psychological test really panned out that was conducted today?
Well, the psychoanalysis test happened yesterday, and today is what we do understand. In the psychoanalysis test, it's sort of a mind mapping to understand the character and his background history of this particular person. In the format, there are particular questions that are also asked while this test is conducted, and given to certain responses, stimuli, the investigators through scientific data understand that whether there is any particular trend that the investigators need to investigate. So this is the reason the psychoanalysis test is first done, and now a polygraph test is what the CBI is focusing on. But clearly, when the matter comes up in the court, Sanjay Roy, the accused, will also have the right to say a no. So whether or not the final permission is achieved by the CBI is something that we'll also have to wait and watch for.
So it's very interesting that this polygraph test is done to detect the psychological behavior of the person who they want to interrogate. And this is very similar, in fact, to the psychological test that's already been carried out. A little bit of the difference between the lie detector test, which is called the polygraph test, and the psychoanalysis test, Shreya.
Well, yes. If you compare, these are basically the physiological responses to the questions. There are certain set of questions based on the case history, based on the investigation that has panned out. There are a set of questions that the investigators arrive on. Then, with the help of other scientific team members, there are questions that are posed as the physiological responses. Then probably help the investigators understand and compare between two situations. So clearly what the CBI aims to do, from my understanding, is they want to iron out all possible theories that have cropped up in this particular case. Remember, Nabila, ever since the case has been developing, there are multiple such stories of possible botch-up, possible involvement, possible crime angle.
Latest we have, Shreya, that the CBI has finally got a nod. It sought for a polygraph test, which is a lie detector test, and it seems like they've quickly got a nod as well to carry out this test. So a big move here by the CBI to ask for another layer of tests to ensure if this is a man who's carried out the crime and if there's anything more in this case. After the psychological test, now a lie detector test has been sought and a nod has been given to the CBI to carry this out. Shreya is still with us. Shreya, from what I read, we understand that the lie detector test, or the polygraph test as it's called, will check on the man's breathing, his blood pressure, his heart rate, etc. All of this will be detected while questions are being asked to him.
Well, yes. And, what clearly it also suggests that the accused here is also given a go-ahead. He's clearly not said a no, and that's the reason why the polygraph test permission is also being granted by the court to the Central Bureau of Investigation. A polygraph test essentially is conducted in 3 phases. There's a pre-test interview, there's a testing, and a post-test. But there are different patterns of questions based on the investigators, what they have come to while investigating the case, that are then set, and then the entire case, the test is administered. So clearly, the CBI is right now looking into understand at those key pictures that they now want to investigate in this particular matter is why they have gone ahead with the polygraph test.
And a case like this is being handled very delicately. It's not so often that investigative authorities really get a go-ahead to carry out a lie detector test. There's only permission that's needed from court to actually carry out this test, and it appears the court has found it fit to grant CBI permission to carry out this polygraph test. Isn't it, Shreya? Not a very common affair, permission that needs to be taken from court to carry out a test like this, and the court really looks at this as a fit case to do a lie detector test.
Well, absolutely. And, the reason the polygraph test is being done is because while the Central Bureau of Investigation have been questioning the multiple people involved in the case, they have got multiple different theories. There are many contradictory statements that the Central Bureau of Investigation has achieved, and that's the reason they have decided that they need to move on with the polygraph test, because at this point, the investigation also needs to be fast-tracked given the amount of public pressure that is there. That's precisely why, to iron out theories, to iron out possible angles and focus on what really the investigation is pointing it out, is why the polygraph test has been gone ahead with. Remember, it's also not something that is admissible in court. This only helps in further investigation. Just for our viewers, the polygraph test measures physiological arousal factors, which are the heart rate, the blood pressure, the respiration, skin conductivity, etc. When these questions are asked, how these different parameters are heightened or lowered depends on whether the person is lying or not, and that's something which is arrived upon by the specialists who will be present over there while performing the polygraph test. So these are the factors that will be looked into. There are 3 phases of a polygraph test, and subsequently, now that the CBI has got the permission, they will be going ahead with it.
Shreya, thanks very much for joining us with those details.